Not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast longest running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum. Get interested, get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast Forum.
Hello, everyone. This is Amira remotely. You're listening to WSTU 1450 Treasure Coast Forum, and I'm here. Mr. Frank Metzapelli will not actually here, but, you know, he's there. I'm somewhere else.
Yes, indeed you are. But it's all right. So you're coming in loud and clear, and that's the important part. And amazingly, so much has happened in the past week since you were in studio. So I guess we'll begin with that. Why don't you tell our listeners what's happened in the last 7 days?
Well, of course, everyone knows that Trump got shot in the ear.
Yes.
By a sniper dude who was at a building.
Yeah.
I think he was killed, right? But someone 100% hired him. Well, he wasn't a sniper guy. He had an AR, which was strange. Why would you? I don't know, man. If you're going in a building, you would use a sniper. But thank God he didn't use a sniper. He would have probably not missed if he used a sniper. But anyway, so that's strange. That's why the fact that it's an AR and not a sniper just shows how disorganized. Like people can't even kill anyone anymore. Crazy. Anyway, but also Trump is he's fine. He just has like a little cast thing in his ear. And then I think the Republican convention, is that happening like right now?
Yes. In fact, today, Trump will be doing his acceptance speech for the nomination to be the next president. So that's what the Republican convention is all about, is to solidify the candidates. Yesterday, they officially nominated and received the acceptance of the nomination for vice president of J.D. Vance.
Mm-hmm.
And so today culminates the week-long events since Monday. And so today will be culminated with about an hour or so long address from the president after he's announced, and then he gives his acceptance speech. So for the nomination. So there it is. So that it should be, we're told that the speech should be conciliatory to some degree, trying to establish more of a theme of unity.
He said that he wasn't going to mention Biden's name once.
Right.
If anything, he would just talk about the administration. Also, that's because we might not even know if Biden's going to be the nominee at this point.
Correct. Do you want to elaborate on what you know about that? I mean, there's been a lot of speculation. So the curious thing is, and I forget how many millions of dollars that there is in the Biden war chest for presidency. It's the Biden-Harris war chest. So that money is specific for that that candidacy of Biden-Harris ticket. So the problem is, Harris
where does that money go?
Well, I don't know. It doesn't go to anybody else for sure. I don't know if it goes back to the people who gifted the money to the campaign,
or they just put it in their pockets.
No, it has to be accounted for.
They can't do that?
No. So it might be, it could be that the Biden-Harris could donate that money to
the next campaign.
Well, I don't know about that. It's a possibility, but they would have to both agree to donate it to maybe a non-for-profit, or maybe donate it to the DNC, the Democratic Party, so that and then they would reallocate that money. So that's a possibility, but nobody else can just reach in there and use that money. So it's kind of,
I don't know.
It's pretty nebulous.
People will find a way.
Yeah. So it'll be pretty pretty wild. So yeah, so it's been um, very, very interesting. So Saturday was the event in Pennsylvania where the president was shot through, I guess, the top of his ear, from what I can gather from the video
Yeah.
footage. And he's got a kind of a funny looking square bandage taped over
Thingy
his,
majig. Yeah, yeah.
and I'm not too sure what that's all about, but you said
I
it's
think
a,
maybe it was like probably just a flesh wound, and so it kind of looks like a nasty flesh wound, so they just covered it up
oh, yeah. Hmm.
before like the makeup artists come and like make it part of his hair or something.
So yeah, but it'll be interesting to see once the bandage comes off. But of course, the way he wears his hair kind of covers over the top of his ears, anyways. So
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah,
yes,
definitely. He'll just put more wig extensions.
that way extensions. I don't think he says it's all his real hair. So
I think was it one time he went to like the Jimmy Fallon show or something, and then he said Jimmy touched my hair or
yes,
something, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
but there's a because the thing is on these talk shows,
Yeah.
especially like since Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel have no natural wit, everything's written for them.
Yeah.
They have to rehearse and meet with the guests a little bit before because of course the talent isn't natural. I know I'm being so mean, but when I see like British talk show hosts like Graham Norton
right,
and stuff like that, I'm like, that's real talk show stuff. But anyway,
right.
so then there could be a chance that he just paid Jimmy to just tell everyone that his hair is real because people were being really mean at that point.
No, yeah, but I thought I recall seeing, and I forget whose show he was on, but the guy actually did put his hand on his head and grabbed his hair. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so it appears,
Maybe the top is real, which is crazy, but everything else isn't. Wouldn't that be insane?
yeah, well, that would be unusual because that would just be the opposite because most people
Oh
carry,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
yeah,
why it would be crazy.
right, very unusual. Anyway, so
You know, there's like a caterpillar. There's a species of caterpillar that looks like Donald Trump's hair. I'm not kidding. It exists. You can search it up. You can Google species of caterpillar that looks like Donald Trump's hair.
eesh, okay. That's it. I don't even know how to respond to that. So anyways, but he's going to be giving that speech. So did you get a chance to listen to the vice presidential acceptance speech yesterday?
No, I'm a teenager. I have a life.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about your teenager experience. So what are you doing in school right now?
Well, of course it's summer vacation, so we're
Right.
kind of free
Yes.
before, I finish my 12-year sentence. But as an IB kid, we all have to do these extended essays. And so basically it's like a college thesis. So I did a history/law one where I'm looking at the Tokyo trial and seeing to what extent did American Cold War agenda be pushed forward based on the legal framework and the presentation of evidence and what happened after the trial,
So
rather than just focusing on justice.
So
So
you're
I've actually found interesting stuff.
but you're talking about what happened post World War II.
Like right after World War II, yeah.
Okay, I just want to be clear about. Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
and what did you find that was so interesting?
So what I found interesting, first of all, was how, number one, there is like the blatant hypocrisy. Let's try these people for war crimes, and we ourselves also committed war crimes because we also waged war, right? But it's inevitable. Same thing happened with Nuremberg. It's just the winners are always going to dictate what's going on. It's from the dawn of time. Whenever a war happens, the winner always says what happens. But anyway, what I found strange, though, is that with the Tokyo trial, unlike Nuremberg, they actually took steps into trying to prevent that type of victor's justice that you see in Nuremberg. But the thing is, actually, when you look at it, the steps are really just there to create this rift between America and the Soviet Union, which is happening. This is like 1946, right?
Mhm.
Stalin's there. So there are a bunch of people on this tribunal. This panel is huge. It's like the whole British Commonwealth, India, you have like the Philippines, America, and of course the Soviet Union. But what's insane is that the countries that were affected most by Japanese aggression, like China, Cambodia, and stuff like that, they were able to present evidence, but they weren't able to be members of the tribunal. Why? Because those Asian countries were in threat of communism at the time. And so also most of the tribunal, most of the power came from American authority because General MacArthur was the supreme commander of the whole tribunal and he wrote the whole proclamation. General MacArthur himself wrote the whole legal framework. There's so many countries being members, but of course, America is the one doing most of the stuff. Now, I love America. It's my favorite country, but that is just suspicious as hell. And then, like, General MacArthur has the power to, like, reduce sentencing on his own. Like, there's no, like, vote. He could just reduce a sentence if he wants to. He literally wrote it on fine print in his little proclamation that I could do this, which is a little suspicious too.
Right.
And why is it suspicious? Because most people, like most of the convicts, after they were getting life sentences, just 2 years later, they were all paroled in every single prison outside of Russia and China, which of course America has no control of because they're like the communist ones, right? So outside of Russia and China, all these guys were like paroled immediately. Like in just 3 years, like life sentence, boom, you have to pay for your crimes. 6 years later, we need you, which is ridiculous. Why? Because they were biological warfare specialists. And the thing is, Japanese during their heyday, they did a lot of horrible things with biological warfare experiments that could rival the Nazi biological experiments
against
right?
the Chinese largely, right?
Yeah, against the Chinese, exactly. But then the thing is, of course, for U.S. biological warfare experts or whatever, it's unethical. It's against the law to do human trials or experiments. So they saw that since the Japanese got that information because they were cruel enough to do it, right? They could just take their research and just do it that way without breaking law. They could just still benefit from the research. So they kept releasing those people. And what's crazy is that the whole tribunal, you're saying that you're like putting these guys on trial for crimes against humanity. Yet, I mean, you literally exploit the fact that they did that. And then just a few years later, it's just a show trial. They just did it as a show, honestly. And after the show was over, they're like, okay, now it's back to business. The Cold War's happening. Let's take these guys out and completely disregard everything that we were supposed to be doing and just use them for our own gain, which is also insane. And then another thing is crimes against humanity was a huge part. So there are three different things. They looked at crimes against peace, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. But they kind of put war crimes and crimes against humanity at the same time. Like you couldn't, those charges weren't really separate. If you were charged with war crimes, you were charged with crimes against humanity as well. But anyway, one thing that they did not mention, which is in the more modern feminine perspective, like I'm not a crazy feminist, but this was still important. Basically, what the Japanese did at the time is that they had organized brothels. Think of the concentration camps with the Nazis, except it's just brothels. It's organized brothels. It's that type of wicked organization, just for brothels, and they were called comfort women camps. So basically, after the rape of Nanking, which happened with China, where a bunch of, when they like invaded Manchuria and they did all these things, for some reason, all the soldiers kept doing those indecent things to women for, I don't know why. It makes no sense to me, but they did because they're crazy. Those soldiers, I can't even imagine them as soldiers. They sound like boars to me, but that's pretty much what happened. So then they decided to make these brothels and justify that, hey, they're military materials. They're important for morale boosting and to make sure that the rape of Nanking never happens again because they'll just rape other Japanese women that we kidnapped. And I'm like, wow. But that wasn't mentioned at all in the whole trial. They'll mention everything, but they won't mention that. Why? Because American soldiers participated.
Wow.
Yikes. Yeah, I know.
So these were Chinese prison brothels. Is that what you're saying?
Japanese.
But I mean,
brothels,
Japanese run. But who was the attendees in these brothels? They were
soldiers, the Japanese army, and then
but
some American soldiers too.
And the women were Chinese or Japanese?
They were a mix. They didn't care. They would kidnap any woman on the street that, whatever. So basically they were all between the ages of 14 to like 22. It was bad,
Hmm.
really bad. And they would just, it was organized. Like literally there was a huge ratio for every soldier. They needed these, like for every regiment, there needs to be these amounts of women kidnapped and in these organized little rooms and stuff, which is crazy.
Hmm.
More than half of them died, I think, going through it. But
Wow.
yeah, so that wasn't mentioned at all in the tribunal, which is insane because you spend like all these, they spend like a couple years on this tribunal,
Mm-hmm.
like charging these guys with crimes that they're supposedly responsible for, but you ignore that. Of course, they ignore that because Americans participated in it, or at least some did. And also, they were more lenient with the biological warfare people and other officials because they didn't want to give them death penalty because they need them alive, right, to parole them later. So yeah, that was wild.
So those people ended up in the U.S. Or other places.
Not just that, so they were given like high-ranking positions. So, for instance, one person who wasn't even put to trial at all was the Emperor of Japan, Hirohito.
Right.
When he was definitely personally responsible for the stuff, because everything that was done was in his name. Because the
That's correct.
Japanese are very loyal to their emperor.
Correct.
Everything they do is in his name.
Right.
And you're not even going to put him on trial at all. Like, not even consider investigating. Not even consider it. Why? Because they knew that his throne would, if they secured his throne, it would ensure that communism wouldn't come because Hirohito wasn't a communist. So that's the reason why they kept him there. And so later on, they released some other people. And as soon as they released people like some guy named Shigemitsu and all that, they went on to be foreign ambassadors to the Soviet Union, foreign ambassadors to other third world countries. And they would be, and I looked it up, they enacted capitalist policies, free market policies, and all that stuff. So I'm pretty sure they did a deal with these Japanese people, and they're like, we'll let you go if you do this for us. And so that was pretty much it. Or they knew that the person was, a capitalist, and they're like, we'll just let you go, and you keep doing your capitalism stuff for us. So that was it. And the Soviets did the same thing. Like the reason the Americans weren't able to parole people in Soviet prisons is because the Soviets paroled the Japanese in the Soviet prisons to help them. So yeah, it's pretty wild. It's whoa.
Wow. Jeez. Yucky.
So kind of it takes away because
Wow.
the Tokyo trials and Nuremberg are like huge for international law. So it kind of the
These were
precedents
show
are not even
trials.
proper precedents. Like the precedents couldn't even hold themselves up, which is sad.
The precedent that was set in the trials, you mean, didn't hold up? What is that? What
I
you're
mean,
saying?
it did hold up, but the fact that the intentions for even setting a precedent wasn't actually lawfully just, and then at the same time, like whatever was made, the Tokyo trials is a perfect example of when law isn't blind to politics, and so like it was the framework and everything was just made it vulnerable. It wasn't a strong enough precedent, in my opinion. But international law, that's why I feel like it's kind of impossible because in any international law situation, politics will get in, which is a problem when it comes to law. Because I feel like law and politics should always be separate. That's why the judicial branch is my favorite branch in the United States government. Always. Because they're just not affected by politics. That's why Trump is not, he's fine. He's not going to be tried for January 6th. Like, justice prevails. Like, politics is what got him in that mess in the first place. It's justice that got him out because they're just concerned with the truth. So the fact that international law is built on politics, like the precedents are all politically based, is just, it doesn't feel like real, authentic, raw law to me.
All right. That sounds like, and how many pages is this paper you're writing?
It needs to be, I think, it has to be almost, try to get it close to 4,000 words. They won't grade after 4,000. So if I go to 4,002, they will not see the last two words. Like they won't read it. They literally won't read it. So yeah, it has to be 4,000. Right now I'm on like 3,100 something. I'm like ready to wrap it up. So yeah.
Wow. So what are going to be your conclusions? So you're getting ready to write your conclusion, basically the last 1,000 words or so. right? So
Mhm.
I mean, so you set out. So you've given us the outline of the issues and what was being discussed. And so, are you going to establish some conclusions, remedies, and things of that
Well,
sort?
I do draw conclusions throughout. I actually do not know. There's this essay I'm looking at, the Nuremberg one. It's very different. It's very simple. It's to what extent did Nuremberg afford due process? That's the question. And so I kind of like looked at what this guy did because he got an A on it, and it's really hard to get an A on an IBEE. So I was looking at it. His conclusion was really short. His was only like 400 words. I drew conclusions throughout. I think the thing is like comfort women. I haven't even mentioned that on my essay. So
Mm,
I kind of gave you the conclusion now. Like I didn't tell you all the details. The outline was actually much crazier, more in depth. But I kind of just gave you the conclusion.
okay. So do you feel going forward? Do you ever think there will be anything like these kind of trials we had post World War II going forward? Do you think that'll ever happen again in the global and world history?
I think it could happen if something like World War II happens again, and we're in a position where there's obvious world powers, like there's obvious like two or three big boys, and then a bunch of little boys who the big boys want to teach a lesson or something. So
Mm-hmm.
something like that happens. That
Mm-hmm.
like World War III, and then hopefully America is one of the big boys again. It might happen, something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hope not.
Right. I mean, no one wants to see another, catastrophic event that requires a trial. But that would be again. So yeah. So you're arguing that the trials are governed more by the politics of the day um, than
Actual
actual,
justice.
yeah, actual uh, dealing out actual justice and getting to the um, well, and of course we've got the so I mean all these things that are bubbling up with what's going on in our current history with Trump. He shortly before the assassination attempt, he was on, I forget what show, he was talking to somebody, a reporter, and they said, before you were elected in 2016, you were very clear that you wanted to release the JFK assassination papers, and that full report that's been redacted and been withheld from the public. And he says, yeah, well, when I get in, I will do that. But he apparently, the word is that he saw the
Never
file.
did.
He saw the file and says, yeah, no, maybe not at this time. So,
Why
but,
was it?
but,
Trump
but,
is usually like not afraid to tell people stuff, so
right. So
that's
this must
kind
have
of
been
scary.
very horrific. So then in this more recent talk show, he said, yeah, definitely. That's because he was held to task, like you said you were going to do this and you didn't do it. What's up with that? He says, yeah, I think this time when I become president, yeah, that'll likely happen. So, wow. So, and then shortly afterwards, there's this assassination attempt. I don't know. I'm not connecting the dots. I'm just saying that's just
Oh, you think it's because
no, no,
someone
no,
doesn't
no.
want?
I'm not saying that at all. But it's just coincidental, and
Uh-huh,
but it's scary for sure,
uh-huh.
and so um, but there's a lot of things about Robert Kennedy. When he was assassinated in was it Los Angeles, right, in
Hmm.
'68. So a lot of that stuff, I mean, there was the trial and all that, but there was still a lot of particulars about that was withheld. So I don't know. I think there's still an appetite to want to really, it's like, come on, we're all big boys and girls now. Let's just peel the onion, tell us the truth. So
Yeah, but then another thing. So Trump said 2016 he was going to tell people. He saw the file, he didn't, and now he said he was going to do it anyway. Now,
correct. When
okay,
if he is sentenced to become the president again, yes,
okay. That
yes.
I'm kind of nervous now. The fact that he like did not do it the first time. Did he see it and he was like, "Oh no."
but that's the speculation is, in fact,
What
he
if it's
did see
aliens?
it could be anything. Who knows?
I don't know. It's
It
so
could be
scary.
anything. All right. So do you want to toss it to our friends Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Take it away, Rocky and Bullwinkle.
And now,
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
again,
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
All right. So that was good, and you came in nice and loud and clear. Yay. Yeah. So apparently when I have you in queue, I can't hear you as well as that when we're live. So that's good. All right. So what are we going to do for the next half hour? We got like 10, 15 minutes. Let's stop it. We're not making things up. All right. So I'll do this day in history, and if that spurs any conversation, we'll take it from there. How's that? All right. All right. All right. And we'll look at all the headlines too from the news of the day. Nice. Okay. All right, kiddo. We'll go live in 1 minute and 10 seconds. A little remastered Popeye the Sailor Man from 1956. A little bit, excuse me, a little bit of audio music for reminiscing. And let's see now.
If you were alive back then.
Well, sure, I was 3 years old. So I remember I used to watch
That's
Popeye.
crazy.
Yes, it's every
I don't even remember what I watched when I was 3.
Oh,
I
God.
only remember what I watched when I was 4.
well, so the cartoon, everything was black and white. So and I remember, of course, my mom was busy. There was, a bunch of us kids. So between getting the meals up and doing the laundry, ironing, and looking after us kids, she had a full plate. So if she had a moment to set us in front of the TV to watch cartoons, she wasn't going to fight that. So it worked out great, and so I got to watch Popeye. So it was good. All right, so today is July the 18th, and the quote today is, "Boys, the old flag never touched the ground." As dusk fell on the evening of July 18th, 1863, about 600 men of the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry assembled on the beach near Charleston. That was, of course, South Carolina. At the shout forward 54th, they began to move across a narrow split of sand towards Fort Wagner, a massive sand and wood Confederate stronghold with walls that rose 30 feet high. As they neared the fort, a storm of cannonballs and bullets tore into the blue-coated line. The 54th Massachusetts was a Northern Black Regiment organized shortly after Abraham Lincoln. After Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, its ranks were full of young men who volunteered to fight because they knew that if blacks helped with the Civil War, no one could ever think of them as being slaves again. All right, fair enough. And then the last paragraph here, the 54th Massachusetts never lost half of its, nearly lost nearly half of its men during the assault, but its courage won the respect for black soldiers in the North. William Carney recovered from his wounds for his bravery in protecting the flag that night. He received the Medal of Honor, the nation's highest military award. So I want to get to the point where they did the quote, but yeah, so apparently, even though they were being shot up, they, of course, they back then they carried their flag into battle, but the flag never touched the ground. So, yeah, so
Oh
still
my God, that would have been such a nerve-wracking position to be flag guy.
right. He was
It's just, oh my God, they're like, it's kind of like when you're in a Nerf battle and there's like 1 3-year-old. It's the shoot me first type of position.
Is it? Okay.
It sucks.
Okay. So yeah.
Like,
So
but did you know the "Oh Captain, My Captain" poem was based on Abraham Lincoln? It was like inspired after he died. And then
no.
the guy wrote the "Oh Captain, My Captain" poem.
Oh, all right. Well, that's pretty neat. So that was the inspiration for it. Yeah. So apparently, this gentleman by the name of Carney, he was shot twice more as he staggered across the sand of his own lines, still clutching the stars and stripes. Boys, the old flag never touched the ground, he exclaimed as he collapsed. So good on him. Let's see now. And the trains rather began running between Maine and Quebec over North America's first international railroad route, and that took place on this date in 1853. So, wow. Okay. And in the 54th, we did that. Let's see now, in 1918, some 85,000 U.S. troops joined the successful Allied counterattack in the Second Battle of the Maine, a turning point of World War I. 1968, Intel Corporation, the leader of development of the microchip, was incorporated on this date in 1968.
Speaking of technology,
Yes.
Elon Musk is ready for the next Neuralink volunteer, and we also found a person with disability is able to use AI and ChatGPT to communicate with his family because he has speech problems, which is pretty cool.
Wow. That's and they'll be hooking up pretty quick here. So I assume they already have a volunteer already selected.
I think so.
Yeah,
Probably. Elon
probably.
Musk probably had the volunteer already months before, but he forgot to tell the press.
Oh, or he was holding off on that. Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure it was successful first. Then, okay, now we're looking for a volunteer. Miraculously, 2 weeks later, look, he's great.
He's apparently it worked. And in 1986, researchers at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution in Massachusetts released a deep sea videos of the remains of the RMS Titanic. Wow,
Have you seen? Did you see the James Cameron movie?
I saw pieces of it. No, I didn't watch the entire movie. To be honest with you,
I thought it was going to be crap.
Yeah,
I thought it was literally going to be crap because I remember I saw like the Oscars for that year or whatever. There's a clip, and when James Cameron won Best Director, he's like, "I'm king of the world," and he just walked away.
right.
And it was kind of like one of the most cringy Oscar moments I've ever seen. So I was like, I don't know, this movie's probably bad. Because I'm not like, at the time especially, I wasn't a huge romance fan. So I'm like, I'm not going to watch like Leo DiCaprio date this girl for like 3 hours on this boat.
Right.
And then I was so wrong. It was a really good movie. And the sinking stuff, because half of it is kind of like you fall in love with the ship. The ship is a character. They made the Titanic, the ship itself, a character. You fall in love with the ship the first half, an hour and a half.
Right.
Right? Then the second hour and a half is when they hit the iceberg. The sinking scenes. so good.
Wow.
Like, so, I don't know. It looks so good. It looks so real.
Hmm.
It was amazing.
Wow.
You need to at least watch like the last hour and a half of Titanic. So
Yeah.
awesome.
I did watch portions of it, but yeah, it was pretty riveting what I did see. And yeah, it's just the whole idea of people, oof, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
such a scary.
And then I think like James Cameron tried his best with accuracy.
Mhm.
So you could watch like little clips on YouTube where there'll be like a little witness account of this conversation took place here, this happened here, Molly Brown did this. And so he would incorporate it, even though we're focusing on fictional characters. In the background, you can like see certain details that were in accounts that, like, let's say, oh, there was this woman in a purple hat, like someone writing an account sitting on this table. You would see that woman on the purple hat sitting in the table at some point in the movie. And then there was another scene, I think he took actual Titanic survivors who were old as heck. And there was a scene where they're like hugging each other as like they drown in a room.
Oh, yeah. The ballroom, right? I think they did a lot of scenes in the ballroom.
Yeah, no, this was one of the cabins. But yeah,
No,
I went to the Titanic Museum in Belfast, the whole Titanic Museum. Like they show you how it's built and everything. It was gruesome how they built that. It
Really?
it really looked crazy how
Wow.
they built that ship back then.
Yeah.
It
A lot
was,
of
oh my goodness.
it's
And
all
so many like Irish people lost their lives and got sick because it was horrible.
the working
But
conditions were tough. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
they
it
were
was all
tough.
hand riveted. So
Mhm.
and the contemporary feeling is do metallurgists believe that they because there were so many rivets that needed to be used to mend the seams, right, of all the steel plating, and in order to save money they lessened the quality of those rivets, and the extreme cold water changed the dynamic of the metal and made those rivets more likely to fail.
Yeah.
So it was a cacophony of things that took place. There's another word you can look up. I left you yesterday with a yeah, but it was just a combination of different things that took place. That not any one thing by itself, but it was extreme cold water. It was running into the iceberg, which is always going to be problematic. But the fact that there was the less care taken to the quality of the materials used to build the ship, and and that's a major component, the rivets that hold the hull together. So yeah, so there's that. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting.
Cacophony, a harsh, discordant mixture of sounds.
Yes.
Why didn't you just say racket?
Well, yeah,
Discord.
yeah.
Why? You know more words than Eminem. You should be a poet.
No, I don't think so.
I found it. Okay, do you know the word caterwauling?
Caterwauling.
What the hell? How do you know?
Sure, yeah, I
How the
know.
heck do you know what that is?
I know what that word is. Yes.
How do
Yes.
you know every word? I'm just gonna put it random words that nobody knows, and then you're gonna know them.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, you know hullabaloo.
Yes.
Lollygag.
Lollygag. I know that word, of course. Yes.
What?
Oh, sure. That's a very easy word. Most people know that word.
No, snollygoster.
No, you got me on that one.
Oh, thank God. It means unscrupulous, untrustworthy person.
Ah, all right. I'll go with that.
Bumfuzzle.
Yeah, I imagine somebody that's confused.
Oh my God. How do you know all this?
All right. So this
I can't even pronounce this one.
All right.
What is that?
Okay. It's all right. So according to CNN, Biden is increasingly defensive over his political standing. Apparently, from sources talking to the media, they're saying that they're trying to encourage him to step aside as early as this weekend. So,
Yeah.
So,
It should be happened. It should have happened 3 years ago.
right. Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah. So, okay. And okay, did you do I guess that's
I know, like even Nancy Pelosi is saying he needs to step down. If she has enough sense to say it, I'm pretty sure
right.
it's
Yeah.
gonna happen,
Yeah.
right? Did
So
AOC? What is AOC saying?
who knows? Does anybody actually listen to her? That's the other thing. So
The problem is, like, all of the Republican boys in my class are like torn because they think she's hot, but then
Well,
she's crazy.
right. Yeah. I mean, yes. Well, I get that. I mean, but she always says that, that yeah, she always refers to the fact that she's, good looking, and that's, and I just like,
I actually
dude,
don't think so. I
well,
think
I know, but
she's too much of a psycho.
she sees herself as a very good looking person, and
That's
so
all she has.
yeah, yeah.
It doesn't go deeper than that. That's it.
Well, yeah, there's that.
It goes downhill.
Yeah. So according to the Washington Post, this is according to Newsmax, Obama shares doubts about Biden's viability. So,
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
yes, yes. So
Obama, he's not like my favorite president ever, but he's at least whenever he speaks, he makes sense.
well, he's coherent. Yes, I think the word
Yeah.
you're looking for.
I miss that. I miss
yes.
hearing that. Like a president who speaks and makes sense.
Well, you don't have to have somebody else interpret, mumbles, right? So
Yeah. Like I don't need to turn on the subtitles and just
right.
like even the subtitles start looking like they're having a stroke.
All right, we're going to step aside just for a short timeout, a 2-minute warning timeout, but we're going to learn something from this land of ours, and we'll be right back. So stick with us. We have much more to cover when we return. All right. That was good. Did you have fun? What's the word? Oh, limerine. I know limerick. Limerine. No, that one gets by me. Oh, sure, flim flam, sure. So you stuck on all doing word stuff. You want to improve your right. So you want to improve your lexicon. Google that word lexicon. No. So I got 1 minute before we go back to air. So the background story was when I was your age and younger, I ran across a lot of these. I mean, my off time I would spend in the school library just reading dictionaries, books, encyclopedias, stuff like that. Right? I know. But I decided that big words, you would have to define one word in the English language, some of those larger uh, words with more syllables in them, right? But you say you say the one word and you're done. It takes several descriptive words to explain what that one word is. And I go, well, for simplicity sake, I'm just going to learn all the big words and then I don't have to use all the little words. So yeah, exactly. Okay, we got 10 seconds. All right, we'll be back soon. Hang on. All right, and of course, you're listening to WSTU 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station, and this is Treasure Coast Forum, and we've got Amira Meehan on the line, who is our resident Thursday host here on Treasure Coast Forum, and it's good to have you. It's good to have you back with us, Amira. So it should be an interesting week. So I expect next week we'll be talking about whether or not Biden is in the race and who Trump will be running against. If it'll be President it'll be at Harris, maybe Whitmer ticket, maybe a Harris Newsom ticket. What are your thoughts?
I don't care. I just want him to lose.
No, stop it. Wait, but if you wanted to watch the drama play out, I mean, so
Okay, if I wanted the most dramatic choice,
right.
AOC Pelosi.
Oh my
That'll
God.
be the most dramatic, most like train wreck choice.
Right. So what? Pelosi would be the presidential candidate, or she'd be the senior
Yeah,
candidate?
I think it's gonna go like that. 'Cause
She's 84.
older.
You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. I
She's
said it's
three.
train wreck.
She's 3 years older than Biden.
And she's still, she's not coherent either, but she doesn't mumble. She just
Right.
says a bunch of random words.
Yeah, there's that. So,
anyway, guys, I found a word that Mr. Frank doesn't know. It's called limerence.
limerence.
It means the state of being obsessively infatuated with someone, usually accompanied by delusions or of a desire to have a relationship.
So my point exactly. Look how many descriptive words you needed for the one word.
I could have just said I'm head over heels.
Well, but that's still more than one word, right? So you got 3.
Okay, love struck.
2 words.
Love struck is one word.
Love. Oh, it's a compound word.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's one.
Yeah. All right. It's still 2. 2
compound words count.
Yeah.
I still think people should just learn slang.
Yeah.
It just hurts my head. Limerence. Can you imagine going up to someone at like a bar and being like, "I have a limerence for you"?
Yeah.
What?
Well, then just hand them the Google phone, and then they can figure it out.
Yeah, but then they feel like it's just my God.
So it's not.
So you're saying seeing you as like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's not going to be.
Limerence doesn't feel like real. It's like too showy offy. Like, look, I know I have a huge lexicon of words.
But so you would avoid using those kind of phrases if you wanted it so okay, this is a good social question. So you're at a school dance and there's a boy there you want to dance with, and it's okay for girls to approach boys in today's culture, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So you find a boy on the other side of the dance floor that you're interested in, that you'd like to dance with at least. And so you approach him. What would you say?
Well, this happened once in Oxford, okay? And yes,
right.
I was the person to go up. Because no one's ever going to ask me out. No one ever has. So I'm like, whatever. So I go. I was just honest. Well, here's the thing. First, you never corner someone that you don't know like that. Right. You have to become friends with someone who's friends with him, who knows him, or something like that. At least that's how I would do it. It's the respect type of thing. So I had a friend. He's from Texas. So, of course, naturally, we were friends because we were the only Americans there.
Okay.
He was friends with one of the boys' friends. So he got that friend of the boy that I talked to. And then from that friend, I went up to the boy, and then he was comes when we just talk normally. I'm not that type of like pickup line person. Like, I'm never serious about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a joke. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, you would just be normal, be yourself. I don't recommend a lexicon of words.
So if a guy approached you and said
slang either.
So if a guy approached you and said something like, "Do you come here often?" This is an opening line.
I'll be like, "What? Why do you want to know if I come here often? Because you're gonna keep trying to ask me out. It's not gonna work." Nah. No.
So what would a young man have to say to pique your interest?
Why do you want to know this?
Well, I'm just curious, It's like so. But he would just compliment your appearance or something like that. I mean,
No, if you're trying to find insight into my generation, I am not the right person to go to, because I get all of my like romance ideas from 1930s movies.
Well, that's cool.
No.
So you're you're a classic person then, right?
I like natural. I just want it to be natural.
Yeah.
Like just normal. Like we just bump into each other or something. Like I don't want it to be just like try too hard.
Right.
Because then you try to be someone that you want to be and not who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Which is you can't just start the whole thing with a lie. And what's crazy is that you're not lying to me, you're lying to yourself, which is even worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, my generation, they just want your phone number right away. Like they just ask your phone number and that's it.
Wow. That's it.
Yeah, so it's very superficial.
Yeah.
And it's usually on Snapchat. They ask for Snap, not phone number. They ask for Snap
So
because they have Snapchat.
wow. So my dad saw my mom at a dance in Detroit, right? And this would have been in the early 50s. And he saw her across the dance floor and he said to his buddies, I'm going to ask that woman for a dance. So and so he did, and my mom danced with him. And then after the dance, she says, well, he dances pretty good. So he's asked for her phone number. And she says, yeah, I don't think so. She says, but I'll be back next week. And so that's what happened. So sure enough, she was back there with my aunt because my mom and my aunt, they traveled together, right? So my aunt always had my mom 6. And anyways, and so he was there the following week, and she was, and they danced again. He asked for her phone number again. She was, well, I don't know, maybe. But she finally relented. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, also nowadays a lot of people just get fake ones from
Oh, well,
AI.
you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays AI, just everyone just uses. I know a few kids who go for AI because real people are horrible because they get catfish. So what happens is that most people they meet online, for these catfish people, they set up fake accounts. And sometimes they'll set up multitudes. Same person will have fake accounts that become your friends, fake accounts that become like someone that you're giving credit card information to, and an account to become a romantic interest partner. Yeah. So then they actually kind of read your mind because they know you because you're interacting with this friend group that's all the same person with different profiles.
Very weird.
And so then they become the ultimate romantic person too. Then they get all your other juicy secrets, like credit card number, everything. It's crazy. I know one of my friends almost got catfished. There was this guy, and he had some Mexican wrestler name. That's his real name. But first, he called himself Casey. He was Casey.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yeah.
And Lamar. He was 3 people at once in his life. And he's like, I have this great online friend group.
Say goodbye.
And then we find out they're the same person.
Say goodbye. Say goodbye. All right. We got to go.
Oh, okay. Bye, guys.
Goodbye. All right. Yeah. So it worked out. Yeah, with cell phones, it's good. I mean, landlines are always better, but cell phones fine. You never broke up or anything like that. So it worked out. Oh, we stopped right on time. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody had said just, yeah, fishing. Yeah. 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 There it is. All right, kiddo. Well, I'll look forward to seeing you next week. So what happened this week? You just couldn't get a ride? Yeah. All right. All right. Well, next time drive in then. I think your mom's got the right call. So I'm sure you'll do fine. This is the best time of year to be out on the road because there's not that many people out there. So there's that. All right. All right, kiddo. Well, all right. Well, thanks for doing the show. But yeah, it's best live. So you understand it's a little disjointed when we're not in the same room, right? You get it? You can't read the hand motions and stuff. Yep. Yep. So Yeah, this will get you out of that. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you doing it, and I'll look forward to talking to you next week. All right. Thank you. Bye.